Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum, dear students. How are you? I hope you'd be fine. This is Cambridge Lower Secondary Mathematics Book 8, and today we are going to do few left questions of exercise 3.2, starting from question number 12, because we have already covered question number 1 till 11. So let's see what do we have to do from question number 12. Here in this question, it says a rugby club sells on average 12,600 tickets to a match each week. Average tells us that if a quantity is evenly divided over a certain number of amounts, so what would be the amount assigned to each of the quantities? So since we are provided with the average cost of a ticket and the number of average number of tickets, so we can calculate the total amount that is received from the tickets. It's actually, we can say that the average is equals to the total amount divided by the total number of tickets. This is how we calculate the average. So always remember, whenever the average is given, the average cost is given, okay? And the number of tickets is given. We are provided with this amount, number of tickets, and the average cost. And what do we have to calculate? We have to calculate the total amount. Always remember, whenever the total amount is to be calculated out of the given average and the number of amounts, so what do we have to do? We will always have to multiply the average with the number of tickets. Okay? So this is the formula that we are supposed to use. Now, the question says, how much money does the club get from the ticket sales on average each week? So what do we have to do? We have to multiply the total number of tickets with the average cost. For this, we will simply multiply 12,600 with 26.80, right? When we will multiply these two amounts, we will get okay. Here we need not to multiply the zeros. So we will just omit the zeros from here and we will add these zeros at the end. So it's supposed to be 8 6 are 48, 8 2s are 16, plus 4 20, 8 1s are 8, 9 10, then 6 6 are 36, 6 2s are 12, 6 1s are 6 and 7, and then 2 6 are 12, 2 2s are 4 and 5, 2 1s are 2. So here it's 252, but here comes 8 6 4 13 and 3. So this is the answer, 33,468. But since we had a decimal over here, so we have to put a decimal, but then we had two zeros. So what will happen? We will move the decimal to 2 digits forward, and here comes $334,680. Okay. So we simply have to multiply the two quantities, and then the question says round your answer to an appropriate degree of accuracy. Okay. So how are we supposed to round it to, whenever the question says round your answer to an appropriate degree of accuracy, so you have to round it to three significant figures, right? And the answer would be here, 4 would be the rounding digit and 6 would be the decider, and decider is 6, so we will add 1 into 4, it would become 5, and the answer would be $335,000. That's all. Okay. Wait, it was not 334. I think we missed. did some mistake over here. Oh, here it was 756, so this would be 337,000, right? And it will, when we will add 1 into it, it will become 338,000. Okay, students? The next question says, this formula is often used in science. As we all know, force is equals to mass into acceleration. Okay? So work out the value of A when F is equals to 32 and M is equals to 15. So we are simply given with this formula, but we have to calculate the value of A. So we'll make A as the subject. We will write it MA is equals to F, and then we will write it as A is equals to F upon M. Then we will simply substitute the values of F, that is 32, and for M it's 15. Then we will divide it. So the answer would be 15 twos are 30. Here comes 2 down. We'll put a 0. 15 ones are 15. Here comes 5. We will put a 0. Then 15 threes are 45. And it would keep as it is. So the answer would be 2.1333 and so on, right? But we have to write down the answer to an appropriate degree of accuracy. That is, we will write the answer to two significant figures. Why are we writing the answer to two significant figures? Because we discussed it earlier that when in the question, the quantities are two digits each. You see F is equals to 32, M is equals to 32. We have two digits in each of the two. So the answer appropriate to an appropriate degree of accuracy would also have two significant figures only. So the answer would be 2.1. Since the decider over here is 3, which will not affect 1. So the answer is A is equals to 2.1. That's all. Okay. Here in this question, we had 12600 and 26.8. So what we did, we wrote the answer to three significant figures. This was the appropriate degree of accuracy. But when the question itself has only two digits each, so the answer would also have two digits. Now comes the next question, which says this is part of Jake's homework. He works out an estimate by rounding each number to one significant figure. So the question says work out an estimate of 0.238 into 576 upon 39.76. So how did Jake solve it? He wrote 0.238 to one significant figure. Okay, and 576 to one significant figure becomes 600 and 39.76 becomes 40. So what he did, he wrote each of the numbers to one significant figure. He rounded all of the numbers. And then what he did, he then multiplied 0.2 with 600, which got 120, and then he divided it with 40. So he got 3 as a whole number. So the estimated answer would be 3. Then he had to work out the accurate value. So he simply multiplied 0.238 with 576. He got 137.088. And then he divided it with 39.76. So he got 3.45. Since the answer was long, so he wrote down the answer to three significant figures, and that was 3.45. And then he compared his answer, the accurate answer, to the estimated one. So the accurate answer was 3.45 and his estimated answer was 3. So he wrote that my estimate is close to the accurate value. So my accurate answer is probably correct. Yes, accurate. So what we have to do, we have to use Jake's method to work out an estimate of the answers. And we can use the calculator to work out the accurate answer. Then we have to compare the answers. So starting from the first one, what we will do, we will do the same thing. Like in part A, it's 0.3941 times 196 upon 4.796. So what we will do, we will simply round each of the numbers to one significant figure. The first one would become 0.4, the second one would become 200, and the third one would become 5. Right? So 0.4 times 200, so 4 into 20 is equals to 80. 80 divided by 5 is equals to 16. So A is equals to 16. This is the estimated answer. Now let's use the calculator to figure out that what would be the accurate answer. For this, we simply have to multiply 0.3941 with 196, which gives us 77.2436, and then we will divide it with 4.796. So the answer is 16.105838 and so on. So we will write down the answer correct to two significant figures or three significant figures, and it would be 16.1. And the answer is very close to the estimated one. Okay, now let's do the second part. So in part B, it says 4732 plus 9176 upon 19.5166. So the first one would become 5,000, rounded to one significant figure. This will be 9,000, and then 19.516 would be 20. So we will add 5,000 with 9,000, which gives us a total of 13,000. Then we will divide it with 20. So the answer would be 650. Wait, 9 plus 5 is 14, not 13. Okay. So it would become 700, right? And when we will add 4732, the accurate answer would be 13908. And then we will divide it with 19.5166, which gives us 712.624. And we will round it to three significant figures, which is 713, right? And yes, this is also very close to the estimated answer. Now let's do the next one, part C. In part C, we have 2.764. So when we will round it to one significant figure, it will become 3. Then we will multiply it with 84. So it's 80 upon 9.6 would become 10 minus 4. So it's 240 upon 6, which is 60. Right? And the estimated answer is 2.764 multiplied by 84.695 equals 234.09698. Okay, then we will subtract 9.687 with 4.19, which is 5.497. Now we will divide the two. So the answer would be 42.586. And round when we will estimate it to the three significant figures, it would become 42.6. That's again close to 40. And now the last one, you have to do it the same way. 58,432 would become 60,000. Multiply by 0.08 would remain the same since it has already one significant figure. 0.2 would remain same, and 348 would become 300. So we will multiply 6 with 8. It gives us 48. 480,000, and then there are two decimal places, so it would become 4,800 upon 0.2. 2 multiplied by 3 is 6, so it would be 60. Now we will divide it, and it will become 80, right? We have already learned all these rules, how to multiply the numbers involving decimals. So we just have to multiply 58,432 with 0.08, which is 4,674.54. And then we will multiply 0.2 with 348, which is 69.6. Now we will simply divide 4674.54 with 69.6, and the answer would be 67.162. And when we will round it to three significant figures, it would become 67.2. Okay, but this answer seems to be not as close as the previous answers, but still we will consider it accurate. We will consider it appropriate because it is rounded to one significant figures. And here we have completed this whole exercise. Inshallah, in the next video, we'll start with a new exercise. Until then, take care. Do subscribe to my channel if you are new, and don't forget to share it with your friends. Allah Hafiz.